Hello, welcome to this quick guide to password security and how you can avoid your password being stolen. I'm going to look at the importance of passwords and ways in which hackers and crackers try and steal them, and then what you can do to protect against them. I'm going to focus on some of the tricks that hackers use and how you can protect against those particular tricks. In a future video, I'll cover more of the technical detail of how passwords are stored and how crackers break them. So please consider subscribing and click on the notification icon to find out more about those in future. Why are usernames and passwords so important? They're the most common way of implementing what's known as the AAA Security framework. The AAA framework provides ways of protecting computers and the data on them. The key elements are authentication, authorization and accounting. In the CISP guide, this is extended to include identity and auditing. This I'm going to concentrate on the first one, which is authentication. For the authentication criteria, there's commonly two steps: identity and then authentication. Identity is who you are, and it's often based around a unique username. Authentication is proving that you are who you claim to be. This is based on something that only you should know, which in this case is the password. There are alternatives, which I'll cover in future videos. An example you're already familiar with would be withdrawing money from an ATM or cash machine. In that case, the card is used instead of your username to show your identity, and the PIN number is in place of the password. I'm going to look at what crackers do. I'm using the term crackers rather than hackers here. It's the more appropriate term in this circumstance, although hackers is often used as well. There are lots of different techniques, but I'm going to look at a few along with suggestions of how to protect against them. This includes password guessing, personalised attacks or spidering, shoulder surfing, phishing and social engineering, malware and keyloggers, dictionary attacks and brute force attacks. There's some very common passwords or default passwords which are very easy to guess, and these are what I call stupid passwords. Things like 123456, the word password, and various variants on those. And these are amongst the top passwords that are used, and it's very easy for them to try a few different permutations of these. Also, don't forget to change default passwords, as these are commonly available for anybody to look up. There's a few examples there. If any of your passwords appear on this list or are similar to any of these, then change them now. These are really bad passwords, and it's just asking for trouble if these are what you're using. The next one I'm going to look at is personalised attacks. These are also known by other terms such as targeted attacks or spidering. This is where the cracker first does some research into the user of the account they're wanting to break into, and this may give them something that would help them to guess at the password. For example, typically users often use their pet's name, or details about your family, such as your partner's maiden name or your child's date of birth. Maybe something about yourself, such as where you were born or where you last went on vacation. This is another one that's fairly easy to defend against. Just don't use anything personal in your password. Make sure your password cannot be linked to you. Did you see the username and password I typed above? This was obviously a simple default password, but was seen from the point of view of someone stood over my shoulder in a technique known as shoulder surfing. I normally touch type, in which case not quite so easy, but if you watch multiple times you can sometimes still pick up what the password is. The main protection against this type of attack is to be vigilant. look around before entering your password and try and hide what keys you press, similar to how you hide your PIN when using an ATM or using your card in the supermarket. I've put phishing and social engineering together. These are both ways to trick a user into providing their details. Phishing is typically an email which asks the user to click a link. The link may look genuine, but often includes different letters or something extra in the domain name. After clicking on the link, you're provided with a genuine looking website, which may ask for your username and password. When you type in the username and password, the data is sent to the hacker, who's then stolen your password. Social engineering can also involve a phone call, pretending to be, say, your IT department, asking you what your password is so they can protect it, or some other excuse. The defence for this is to be aware of these and be vigilant. Instead of clicking on the link, type the known website into a browser and never reveal your password over the phone or to anyone else that asks. Malware, which can include software loggers, is software installed onto your computer. This can capture the keystrokes that you enter into your computer. These are also available as physical devices which go between the keyboard and the USB port, although that needs physical access to install and retrieve. To protect against software threats, then only install software that you trust and ensure any relevant software updates are installed, including where your computer has an antivirus. Make sure that's up to date as well. The next thing I'm going to look at is how passwords can be cracked. This assumes that your password has been stored on a server which uses encryption or more often password hashing, but it has been compromised. This is important as it means that they can find your password and then use that to log in both that and a different system. The most important thing you can do to protect against this is to use different passwords on different systems. So if they find one, they don't get access to any others. But I'll look at two different attacks that can be used against passwords and how well your choice of password can protect you. The first is dictionary attacks, and as the name suggests, these are based around words in a dictionary. But note, it's not just enough to swap a character for a digit as shown in these examples, so these can be factored into these types of attacks. The more changes you made to the word, then the harder it is to attack. With enough computing power, then dictionary attacks can cover many possible permutations. The way to protect yourself is not to choose a word from a dictionary, or to use multiple unrelated words. For example, cat, fruit, walking. The other way is a brute force attack, which is where the computer tries every single character combination to break the password. The security of this is based on the number of letters and digits in a password. If you use only 6 characters, then it's possible to crack the password in perhaps a few seconds. 8 characters, it's going to take a few hours. But increase that to 10, you're into months, or 12 characters, you're into thousands of years. These are only approximate. It gives you an idea of how adding additional characters can significantly increase the security of your password. So it's clear we need to use a different password for each system. And for each of those, we need to set the password to be 12 characters long, using random numbers, letters, and perhaps special characters. There's just one problem. Our memories are not very good at remembering those passwords. As a result, people often write them down, perhaps post-it notes on your computer screen. That is introducing a big risk. So the solution to that is to use password managers. And this is effectively a software safe, which stores your passwords so you can get to them, but encrypts them so that only you can access them. You may already be using one of these. They're often included in a web browser or a mobile phone, but you can also get some that are separate pieces of software that you control. If you're using a password manager, you should ensure that the information is protected, as otherwise someone can then access all your passwords. Set a secure password, which is at least 12 characters long and perhaps based on multiple words. It's important that you remember that password, as if you do forget it, you'll not be able to access any of your passwords and you'll be locked out of your accounts. But it's only one password that you need to remember, so you can make this more complicated and just remember this one password. As I say, using multiple words is a good way of making that password longer. An even better way to secure an account is using multi-factor authentication, also known as two-factor authentication. Many banks have already implemented this, and across Europe, many online credit card payments now also add multi-factor authentication. This supplements the password-based authentication, which is based on something you know, with also needing to be in possession of a second factor to prove who you are. This is often a mobile phone, using either SMS/text messaging or an app which can be installed on your phone, although there are other methods. I'll be covering this in more detail in a future video, but for now, know enabling multi-factor authentication is one of the best things you can do to protect an account that you want to keep secure. So if it's an option, then I do recommend that for your more valuable accounts. Hopefully this has given you a better insight into password security and how you can protect your password. If so, please give the video a like. Is there anything I've missed out? If so, please leave a comment below and join in the discussion on how we can all make security better. I plan to add more videos in future, including multi-factor authentication, as well as an introduction to some of the tools that crackers use. Please subscribe to my channel and click the notification icon so that you can find about my future videos. Thanks for watching.